Good morning, monkeys. Welcome to another episode of Monkeylandia here at Coaster Monkey Studios. So we got a fun one for you today. We're going to be banging out our Macys Inspired Main gate. And as always, if you guys are liking what you see here, don't forget to click down below to like and subscribe for more content. A lot will be coming. We just posted a really cool one of our crazy taxi coaster, which you're going to see in a few episodes to completion, hopefully not more than 10. But yeah, so here we are doing this. And again, like I said, this series, if you guys are curious about what it is, we are I'm trying to kind of figure out the mechanics of this game, and I definitely stumble my way through a lot. But I think I did a pretty good job in catching it on film and kind of pulling together what exactly I'm creating here. And for those of you that have been asking for it, here you are. Here is a breakdown of how I built this building here. I know a lot of you have been saying how amazing and ornate the actual building itself is. So kind of let me walk you through what I'm doing here. So I'm gray boxing out, and call it gray boxing, quote unquote. It's brown and now, or yellow and now it's white. But we're gray boxing out the footprint of kind of what I want this particular building to look like. And as you see here, giving it a base color, and I tend to do this a lot in most of my buildings. You know, they say if you're not going to see it, why render it, right? But unfortunately, I need something to work off of, right? And that's what you see here. Most of this, all of it gets covered up. There's very, very little wall that actually isn't covered up at the end of this project. But yeah, so there's a lot of layering. What I wanted to get into, and you saw it in, you know, the preview shots coming into this episode, and then kind of what the last episode looked like when I walked you through what our train station looked like. I wanted to give you a breakdown of how I pulled all that together. Now, mind you, this is only the second building I built in the game at this point of recording, and what I wanted to do is, again, I really wanted to push the envelope. I wanted to flex my chops, see what I could create, and go as detailed and as aggressive as possible in these first few structures, because I really wanted to see what this game could do, and if my creativity could actually be manifested, because I had these visions in my head of what I wanted to see, but I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know if I could do it. So that's what this is here. You see me futzing around quite a bit on this episode here, trying to figure out exactly what pieces work, what don't work. I wind up using a lot of the Baroque columns, a lot of the stucco columns. Baroque and stucco really do kind of circle around these first two buildings I created. And you'll see I use a lot of trim work from the firehouse, as well as spooky windows. A lot of spooky windows and castle windows and castle pieces. You see the flooring there, that's castle flooring. But the whole intention I was going after with this here was just to create, you know, as ornate as possible a building that I think would stand out as an entryway, right? I wanted it to be that oh wow moment when you're walking up to the park and you're just like, whoa, what is that? So yeah, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to let the camera roll for a little bit, and I will chime back in when I see fit. Check you guys in a bit. And here we are back, and I wanted to chime in at this point because for those of you that have not played this game before, or have played this game and run into this challenge, I gotta say, once you layer stuff on top of each other, I don't know if how many of you noticed, you can't click on it. You've got to like, it's so frustrating. You've got to delete things around it to highlight the one thing that you want, and then you have to undo the deletion up until the point of that, deletion. Oh my goodness. It's a lot of work. But what you got to do is you got to delete things around it in order to highlight it. And that's what I wound up doing here. You'll notice I do this a lot in building this particular building. I actually save you. To be honest, there's a good, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes of sped up video of me just trying to select a wall and move it and recreate it. It was challenging, to say the least, especially being my first or second building, I should say. But a lot of it is copy and paste. Many people are asking, how do you create a building that's so ornate? It's a ton of copy and paste, to be honest with you. That's really what I'm doing here. I don't know anything else to say about that other than, taking a reference photo. So, okay, my reference photo. I'll use my reference photo to start. So my reference photo was a building in Soho, the Top Man building, and that's where it started, and it kind of evolved into this creation here, which is very Macy's. It reminds me of Macy's in Herald Square for anybody who's been to New York City. Again, the entryway area of this theme park is New York based. I wanted it to feel like New York, so I used a lot of inspiration from New York. It's my hometown. It's where I was born and raised. So I wanted it to feel that way, and I think I hit the nail on the head with that. Tell me what you guys think. I've gotten some great feedback, some great comments from you guys. Questions on where to find me. You can find me in a few places. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can find me on Discord now. You can find me on Reddit, Coaster Monkey Studios. I'm on Twitter. I'm in quite a few places. You can definitely catch me there if you've got any questions. I'm also a member of the Planet Coaster Nation on Facebook, as well as Channel 5 Gaming and the Nexus server in Discord. Thank you, Johnny5 and Wix. So yeah, back to our building here. So we've got this main gate, and again, like I said, it's a lot of copy and paste. I definitely got to go back and take a look at those interiors. I want those hallways to feel a little bit more embellished upon. So I don't know how I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to use the wood cladding from the haunted house on the walls in there. I definitely want to keep the stone floor, and maybe put up like different picture frames of pictures of around the park. I've got quite a few stills that I could definitely pull up at this point and put in there, just cool black and white photos in that hallway. I'm also thinking about doing a security booth, or not security booth, I'm sorry, metal detector in each one of those hallways as well. And I would have loved to do an exit area instead of having to walk through the main gate again. But what I noticed was the peeps, they still just walk right through the main area. Those three main gates there. So I really didn't think that was necessary, because they're just going to walk through anyway, right? But again, from a realism standpoint, I think this main gate is kind of major. Again, a lot of Baroque pieces. There's the Baroque trim right there, which was super, super fun to work with. I think I used this a lot, to be honest with you. This and the firehouse trim I use a lot going into the actual street, the Broadway street there. But as you can see, I definitely had my fun with this one. Again, Baroque trim work there. But speaking of main gates, let's talk a little bit about Coaster Monkey Studios and where we're traveling in the next couple weeks. Got a big couple weeks coming, which I'm super stoked for. First and foremost, we're going to be hitting Hershey Park on July 1st and July 2nd. That's going to be major. I cannot wait to go to Hershey Park, get on that brand new coaster, Candymonium, and the entire entryway area that they did there with the Hershey Kiss fountain. There's going to be new stores, new shops, and it's all opened up. On the 30th, Candymonium's only open to members. Not members. That's Six Flags. Whoops, sorry. But season pass holders. And we're actually going to go on the 1st and 2nd because we want to go to the entire park. Unfortunately, Stormrunner is not going to be open for this season, which I find so interesting. I guess it might have needed some type of refurbishment or something, I'm going to assume. And they couldn't do it because of everything that's going on in the world. The other thing, so after that, on the 3rd, Great Adventure, Six Flags Great Adventure, my home park, will be open to season pass holders. I am so excited. So we'll be going to Six Flags Great Adventure on the 3rd. We'll be vlogging from there as well, just like with Hershey Park. definitely giving you guys all the ins and outs of what's going on in the world of amusements there. And then I go down to, on the 17th, down to Atlanta, where I'll be hitting Six Flags Over Georgia and Dollywood, for those of you guys who are interested in those two parks. By the way, this trim I'm putting in here, really liked it. Really going to use it in the future for a building, just not on this one. I wound up removing it. But yeah, so Six Flags Over Georgia and Dollywood. For anybody who's watched my Six Flags Over Georgia vlog, yeah, I did not have a good experience last time I was there. They have 11 coasters. Of the 11 coasters, 4 of them were down and 1 of them was unrideable, which was the Superman coaster. I went to get on a row where only 1 seat was working because 3 of them were broken. In a coaster where you're dangling stomach towards the ground, I don't think it's very safe to be in a seat. 3 of which are broken or in a row. So I opted out of that coaster. But yeah, so I'm hoping to go back, have an amazing experience. Again, I'm there for a week. I'm there for 10 days down in Atlanta. So I'm hoping to get to Six Flags Over Georgia at least twice. I'll do a couple vlogs from down there. I really want to get on the not Georgia Scorcher, why can't I remember what it's called? Wicked Cyclone. So Wicked Cyclone, really want to get on that. I want to see what Blue Hawk is like. I believe it's Blue Hawk. It's not Blue Fire. Blue Hawk. Blue Hawk is a ride that I was dying to get on. It's completely refurbished and moved Vekoma looping coaster right over their lake. It's absolutely stunning. If you've never seen it before, you should definitely take a look at that coaster online. Blue Hawk at Six Flags Over Georgia. It's just probably the most picturesque coaster I've ever seen in my life. And yeah, I want to get on that. And what else didn't I get on when I was there? The Little Joker coaster I want to get on. I want to get another couple of rides on Mindbender as well as Batman the Ride there. I did not like Goliath. I gotta be honest with you, Goliath was in desperate need of some love. From a maintenance standpoint, it was rickety, shaky. All of the pads were coming off the seat restraints. I mean, there was a lot going on in that park that day that I was there. I wound up opting out of not doing a second day and moved my train up from PM to AM just so I can travel up to Dollywood the next day. And speaking of Dollywood, so that is the next park we'll be going after Six Flags Over Georgia. And we'll be hitting that park for 2 days. We're going to not only hit Dollywood, we're also going to hit all of Pigeon Forge and kind of check out what's going on in the area. Since, everything's going on in the world, this, wonderful pandemic that we're dealing with, unfortunately. But that being said, yeah, so Dollywood getting on Tennessee Tornado. I missed that one last trip, unfortunately, because there was some maintenance issues and I had to be on a train at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock that day to get back down to Atlanta so I can get on a plane from Atlanta to Florida. But yeah, so Tennessee Tornado, that'll be the next coaster credit I get. And that's pretty much the month of July for the most part. And then at the end of July, we're going up to Six Flags New England, which I'm super excited for. We're going to check that out, probably go over to Lake Compounds, get on those coasters there, and kind of get on whatever we can that's open in the area. Me and CJ from CJ's Crazy Coaster Crew. Hey CJ, what's going on, buddy? We're gonna get on those and do a little bit of travel and kind of get around this month, which will be pretty fun. And then, crossing our fingers, Dorney Park is opening up on the 8th of July, so we might end up hitting Dorney Park at the beginning of the season. And we'll vlog from there. That one's still up in the air, especially with the new announcement of a potential coaster next year, a Gravity Group Switchback, which will be super fun. And crossing my fingers that Busch Gardens opened up in July. Let me tell you, I'm so dying to get there. Pantheon, I need to get on Pantheon. I am twitching to get on that coaster. I'm a huge fan of Premier Rides. I hope that coaster opens with the whole lean situation that's happening with SeaWorld Incorporated. I really hope that coaster opens because if I'm going to be there and Pantheon's just sitting there, I'd be pissed. Same thing like Iron Gwazi. If I lived in Tampa and I had to look at Iron Gwazi every day and not be able to get on it, I'd be pretty upset. Not gonna lie. So yeah, but back to the build here. So a lot has happened in all this rambling. We've gotten all of our windows in. We've gotten our facade built out. Now we're just detailing out that facade. Any empty space that I see on that stucco wall behind it, I'm filling with some type of a trim. Now, in some cases, the trims work. Some cases, the trims don't. You'll see there's a lot of trim that doesn't work. And I wind up, switching back and forth quite often. But as you see here, I think I go with, I think this is from the Vintage DLC. And I love the way this looks. Look at that. It's a nice simple trim. Again, it's not flat stucco in the back, and that's what you want to avoid. You want to avoid any flat stucco. If you want to build something this ornate, you want to avoid any of the flat bases. And I guess at this point now, I really am calling it, when you gray box things out, you're really putting down just the base layer of what the building's going to look like, and then you're going to town from there. I love this little addition that I do here. I thought this was super fun. I created an awning. Now, if you've ever been to any building with an awning in New York City, a lot of them are just simple sheets of tin with a nice ornate trim around it that's held up by some cables against the wall. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. But that's what I recreated here. I used, some of that. Oh my God, what is it called? I guess it's barrier wall, barrier pieces. I want to call it caution tape. But yes, I use that as my quote-unquote tin, and then boom, I create this really nice ornate looking not a marquee, I guess it's a covering, I guess. Awning was the word I would. All right, so this part here is the fun part, and this is where I save you guys a lot of headache and watching me go through my headache. So what I do is I pull the facade off the building and I duplicate it. And when I put it into place, again, this is me learning, right? So I didn't know that there was, let's say, 2 sides to each grid square, the inside and the outside. So I wound up putting it on the outside. I put it up too high. So I wound up having to go back and undo everything and redo it. And trust me, I save you a headache and a half. Excuse me, a little thirsty. But yeah, I saved you a headache and a half. I went through it putting this building together. But I think, again, it came out wonderful in the end. As I'm looking at it now, I think I might want to throw some corner pieces up, excuse me, in that trim at the top. And now that I look at it, I think that's a necessity. Oh my goodness, I didn't realize I might have just left that. But here we are putting in some more base block, just again to help me build out this building and kind of get a clear, definitive look of what it's going to look like shape wise, right? And again, like I said, a ton of copy and paste. But it really comes down to just covering up all of the bits of stucco that you end up with there. There's so much stucco to cover. So how do you do it? Now, in this particular build, what I did was I literally just copied and pasted those windows to come across. But you'll see as we move further into the project and we get into some of these other buildings, I go a couple different routes in creating ornate buildings. I go from really complicated looking ornate buildings to super simple buildings. And I wanted that dichotomy because if you look at any type of building side by side in New York City from one building to the next, you literally have a building that was built in the 1920s right next to a building that was built just last year in 2019. So there's a lot of variety, and some of these buildings, more as of late, I should say, but some of these buildings are literally just, sheetrock thrown together. looking very cheap, whereas some of them are just looking absolutely fantastic from a new building perspective. And you'll see that going further into the build, especially if you look back at the Crazy Taxi video I posted just yesterday. It would be Friday of last week once you see this video. But that Crazy Taxi coaster inspiration, the buildings around it, really just came from New York City and all the different types of buildings there are. There's a building that I utilized, the Woolworth building, as inspiration. There's a building I used in Midtown that's a quote-unquote green roof building as the building for the station. And again, I wanted it to be super, super different from one building to the next. I wanted it to feel like New York, and that's what I went after. I hope it translates. If you guys like it, leave a comment. I mean, I would love to know what you guys think. We've got so much going on in this park. Granted, I've built all the way out now to where Crazy Taxi is and built out the Crazy Taxi coaster. Oops, excuse me, bumped the mic. But I built out the Crazy Taxi coaster already. But I want to hear your comments. I am going back and making revisions and changes as I go. And if you guys see anything you like, see anything you don't like, if you want to know more, your input is crucial to me to make this more entertaining. If you like the format, let's stick with the format. If you hate the format, we'll change the format. You guys tell me. But the idea here is really just about creating great realism within the parks, and that's what you're seeing here. And there's going to be a few backstage areas. Again, I'm going to go back and do some of those backstage areas because they're not done at the moment. But as I start to build out that central hub area around Crazy Taxi Coaster, I'm going to be bouncing back and forth to do backstage areas. And you'll see even in the Crazy Taxi Coaster video, there is a giant backstage area right under the coaster that I turn into a portion of the scenery, which is pretty cool as well. I thought so anyway. But yeah, here we are just throwing on some AC units on top of the building. Again, I wanted it to feel super ornate and realistic, right? Those are the two key words I went after with this building. And this is a fun trick I learned from Johnny from Channel 5 Gaming. To create those little fans on top of building, you take two spheres, you put them inside of each other, and then you turn off angle snap and you spin one just slightly with a varying color, and it gives you this fun pattern. Cool trick. Thank you, Johnny, from Channel 5 Gaming. Definitely love that. Speaking of Channel 5 Gaming, guys, I'm officially a part of the Discord. Yay! I love Channel 5 Gaming. I've been watching every episode of every video since the beginning of, I want to say, November. Middle of November. I blame Theme Park Worldwide. They got me started on watching Planko videos. And then I stumbled upon Channel 5 Gaming, and I was like, I don't want to watch a gaming channel. What is this garbage? And then I actually watched it. Was like, wow, this is amazing. So again, super thankful to Johnny 5 and Channel 5 Gaming for really fueling my inspiration, and everybody that's been featured on the channel or is in the Discord. You guys have definitely been awesome to watch and kind of watch your projects not only come to fruition, but be, just amazing. Here we are doing lighting. So lighting, for me, it's a huge thing. Lighting is everything to me in a theme park. And you can't light a park in the daytime. So if you go to light your park and it's daytime, guess what? You just missed the bill. So go back to your lighting at night and definitely tone down the saturation. And you can do that by darkening the color. So whatever you want to color, whatever color you want to go for, you can move the color gradient towards the black, and what it'll do is it'll smooth out or darken, I guess you could say darken the color is the phrase I would want to use, and it gives you a really nice ambiance within the park. Here we are just throwing in some banners upside down. I didn't realize that until way afterwards when I actually created them, and you'll see that or you saw that, I'm sure, in the glamour shots at the beginning of the video. But yeah, so I wound up flipping those. But yeah, we put up banners here. We put up banners of our four of our mascots within the park. And I'm kind of going after two frames of thought frames of thought. Is that the phrase? 2 methodologies, if you will. I'm going to have a group of characters that are park-based and a group of characters that are brand-based, right? So you've got your Captain Lockjaw, you got your Princess Emily, then you've got your Chief Beef, and you've got your Missy Goods, right? So I'm going to keep them separate. And whenever there's like an area to put up a giant, billboard of branding, I'm going to do it because I want it to feel very, very realistic. I mean, you look at these parks in America, every single park except for Disney has massive advertisements for other companies within their park. And I'm just like, what the front door is happening here, right? So here I am just throwing in just the last of our flower pots around. Again, greenery is everything. If you really want to make a building come to life, put in your foliage, put in your nature. Nature is everything. And there you have it, Monkeylandia. Thank you so much, guys, for joining. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. I loved making it and pulling it together. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, you know where to find me. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, Discord, Coaster Monkey Studios. Thank you so much, guys, for watching, and catch you guys next time. Thanks. Ciao.